and stuff. So Tony, I'm going to hand it over to you to do the welcome. Again, we're going to have a welcome. We're going to talk about what this thing is that we're talking about, why it's important, and some of the next steps.
Great. Thanks, Liz. Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you all for being here today. This is really exciting for me. I'll tell you who I am. For the few of you who might not know who I am, Tony Anderson. I'm the Associate Director for the Association of Regional Centers, Regional Center Agencies, ARCA. So I'm really happy to be here and to be of service to all my brothers and sisters in the regional centers. And I'm a former provider myself and former regional center executive director and lobbyist. And I'm back doing lobbying again. So I do a lot of policy work for our community. But I know there's a lot of formers. You know, I think I can't keep a job, but I just really like all the things that we are all doing. So again, thank you for being here today. This project is it's an exciting project for me personally, and also it's been really neat to see all the other partners who have been involved along the way. It's been around for a few years now, and now it's really getting an opportunity to fly. So I'm really excited to see you all learn more about it, and I know you'll enjoy it. I want you to know that today you're going to learn a lot of the nuts and bolts and why. You're going to hear some whys, why we did it, what it is, how it could be useful. But I just want to always get back to that piece about what we were trying to do that you might not see often, and that is to try to impact the reputation and sort of the recognition of the work of DSPs, and trying to, of course, increase respect in our community for people with disabilities and families and what their needs are. But you know, we talked often and early about that sort of a lot of people don't even know about this profession and about this part of the community. And so we want to lift up our community and get that in the forefront of all people. So some way to reach people who just typically don't know anything about our community, and to do it in the way that we want to do. So not any of the old style. There's no pity. We want to celebrate and respect people with disabilities, and really we're not talking about any angels out there. We're talking about real life work that DSPs do, but that it's important and it makes a difference, and it's a social civil rights kind of job as well. And so we want to attract a whole bunch of people that we hadn't before in a new way. So there's a lot of that in the background that you may not even think about or see, but that's how we want to get people to this site. So again, I want to thank you all for being here, and I want you to think about that piece of reaching out to people who haven't connected with us before, and that we're all moving forward to bring them all in and to help us with this really important, struggle that we are experiencing right now, and that's of our workforce. We need more workers, and we need the right workers to be attracted to come into our field. So I'm going to stop there, because otherwise I know you have a lot of people that are going to talk today. But any questions at all that you ever have on it was a dream that I had, that maybe regional centers could work together with their provider communities and provide some kind of a place to honor the DSPs and bring them in and celebrate their work. And I think that is another really important thing that this does, besides all the practical purposes for having this DSP Collaborative. So again, thank you. And I'll hand it off to John Decker to take off with the next part of the panel. Thank you again.
Thank you very much, Tony. Thank you very much for thinking of this and getting it up off the ground from the very beginning. As Tony mentioned, and I'm John Decker, the Director of Community Services up at Alta California Regional Center. And Tony partnered with our executive director, Lori Benalis. And what we had heard throughout COVID was that our service providers were really suffering from not being able to bring on all of the talented DSPs that they needed, but also that our stakeholders, that our clients and families were really being directly impacted by the lack of direct support professionals. And in many ways, we are attempting to try to address the needs of our clients and their family members, and not being able to have direct support professionals to provide that vital, in-person supports really, again, was one of our top stakeholder issues and concerns. And so Tony, working collaboratively with our executive director, initiated the collaborative. But the collaborative really is a collaborative between service providers and the regional center. And we'll kind of talk about how that came to be. If we could stop sharing, I'm going to share my screen real quickly with just a brief little introductory video from some folks that you're going to be hearing from too. Liz, let me share my screen there. All right.
Go right ahead, John.
All right. And second. Oh, looks like we do not quite have the ability to do that. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to X out of that, sorry. It's not letting me quite do that, but that's okay. So for the DSP Collaborative, one of the things that I wanted to make sure that I shared was the partnership with our service providers from the very beginning in defining what the DSP Collaborative was and what it's going to do. Through a series of work groups that we held with both the Provider Advisory Committee kind of representatives from Alta California Regional Center, also the client, the CLASP. Chris will let you know what that acronym is when she presents, but the provider vendor group from Valley Mountain Regional Center as well. And in talking with this group, we discussed some of the challenges that people face in being able to address the workforce issues. And we looked at what funding we might have available for it too. And so the regional centers have been able to fund these projects through HCBS funds, Home and Community-Based Services, supported through the Department of Developmental Services. The Department of Developmental Services appreciates the regional centers trying to put HCBS funds towards this because it is impossible to truly individualize and provide those specialized supports for folks if you are short-staffed and you don't have the talented staff to be able to support you to provide that direct services and supports. Many of the DSP collaborative things are actually outlined on our Facebook page. And so I'm going to actually share my screen right now. And can I get a thumbs up from someone? Let me know if they see our DSP Collaborative Facebook page right there. Yes? All right.
I'm
Nope,
seeing
we do
your
not see.
email
Nope.
inviting you to this.
Nope, sorry, we don't want to do that. We want to share and we want to go to there we go. How about that? Maybe it looks a little bit better for folks.
That looks like
Oh,
a
there we
Facebook
go.
page.
All right. So to illustrate the DSP Collaborative and the things that we do, there's kind of three main areas. The first, and Bill's going to be going over that with you a little bit later, is the job board that we have created, dspcollaborative.org. We're going to have an opportunity for you to take a look at that. In working with our service providers, what we had heard was that service providers were spending a lot of money on their different job boards that they were funding. And so for our regional center, one of the, and Valley Mountain, the idea was for us to fund a free job board. And we were able to find one that we could replicate, one that was done in the state of Ohio. And we've engaged with the folks from Ohio and have replicated here, which we will be sharing with you. Additionally, we have the job fairs, and I'm just going to scroll through our social media here because, again, the social media really does give you an idea of what we do through the collaborative. As Tony mentioned, we want to honor DSPs. We want to give people an understanding of what it's like working in that field. So for our DSP Recognition Week, what was that, week and a half ago, we have stories here from local DSPs that are highlighted. Additionally, for our DSP Collaborative members, we will do some cross-posting of the different events that you have as well. Well, one of the things that we feel like is very important for us to share is to talk about the job fairs that we have had. And again, for the DSP Collaborative, this is a example of one that we held in Sutter County. Having job fairs at the Sutter County one stop is an opportunity for us to be able to reach all throughout our catchment area and provide an opportunity for a job fair that is not filled with all of your competitors. It doesn't have the Amazon call center. It doesn't have non-developmental disability related fields in it. And so you're going to hear a little bit about the new DSP collaborative activities in Los Angeles County in a little bit. And part of that is going to be planning some of these, what we call disability industry career expos, or our DSP collaborative job fairs too. Um, Again, one of the things that we are very excited about you joining us as members of the DSP Collaborative is adding to these amazing stories that we have about what is going on in our community, the ways individuals with developmental disabilities are supported. So I am actually going to stop talking now, and I'm going to throw it over to Garrett Broadbent from Creative Living Options to give us a little bit of information. Garrett Broadbent.
Hey, thanks, John. So first of all, big thanks to Tony, of course, for coming up with this idea, and John and ACRC for partnering with him, and DDS for providing the funds to, make this whole thing happen. To tell you the truth, I'm not sure exactly what I'm supposed to share, but I'm excited for the opportunity to big this thing up. I think that we did a fantastic presentation at the CDSA conference 2 years ago. And so those of you who might have been in attendance there, some of my comments will repeat some of that. I think all of us who have found our way to this industry, we recognize that this industry is incredible, that we go to sleep every day knowing that we did something meaningful to not probably to, at least to one person, but for many of us who run organizations, to many, many, many people. The issue is that disability services, we have a visibility problem. Once people find out about us and they connect with us and they get a job and they see the difference that they can make in somebody's life, and then the massive difference that that person makes in their own life, they connect to this field. And of course, with the turnover, not everybody stays, but you can't have that impact in your life or somebody else's until you connect with it. So the DSP Collaborative has been a massive opportunity to increase that level of visibility. I don't, some of the activities that have happened are really helpful. So John mentioned some of the job fairs so you can get in person. Some of the things that haven't been mentioned yet are the commercial campaign. I think we went away from the billboards because billboards don't work, but that was thrown around. And all of those things were designed to capture a new audience, but we also don't want to lose that audience. We want them to talk to their friends. We want them to talk to their family so that it has a duplicative effect. And that's where the website comes in. I'm sure are we gonna look more at the website? The idea was that all of these other activities, that they funnel a lot of the attention and the traffic to this website where all of us have our member pages or our company pages, so that somebody says, I'm in Sacramento County, but all I really learned is that there are jobs in this area. I don't really know what's right for me. And then they get to see all of the different options from all of the companies in their county, and they can figure out who they're going to match best with. Or they can just apply, as many people do, to like 10 of us, and whoever gets them first is the lucky person. But that's the idea, is that, and I think really one of the values of extending this to LA and all of the regional centers in LA is that when we can get a bigger audience capture, that duplicative effect is bigger and bigger. Like everybody has a friend in LA, maybe every 5th person has a friend in Sacramento, where I am, and every 10th friend has a friend in Stockton. Sorry, Stockton, you're just not as big. The idea is, again, that once you capture one person, that more and more people find out about it, and then they get funneled to the DSP Collaborative, and they can find any one of our companies to connect with. Do you want me to talk about anything else, like about how this got built, or is that good?
You know what? That is great, Garrett. And we are going to get a tour of the website from Bill in just a little bit, but I do want to just take a step back because folks may say, wait a minute, what is this thing? It sounds great, but what is it? It is a website. That is one piece of it. We're going to get a look at it. The DSP Collaborative is a website that's kind of like Indeed, but it's just for our folks, just for our profession. So I'll be talking a little bit more about that in a bit when Joel and I talk. But another piece of it is really the concept of a collaborative and having job fairs and connecting and really sharing in the resource pool of potential folks that will be working for you. So we will give that explanation. And so I think those of you that have experienced it are sharing what's worked about it for you in your community. And then we're going to talk about of course, LA, it's unique. It's a little bit different how we're going to do it here. So we'll talk a little bit about that in a bit. So I know you've got Chris and Eric also who have been part of the work up north that we're going to be replicating down here.
Yeah, I guess it's going to be Chris. Take it away, Chris Martin.
Great, thank you.
Thank you, Garrett.
So I got involved in this, of course, through Tony. At the time, he was our regional center director, and he approached our CLASP group, which is our vendor group, which is Coalition of Local Agency Service Providers. It's a little bit longer than Alta's group. And we were really struggling to find people to work in our programs, not just the same people that travel from program to program, but we needed to find some new people. And we really thought this would be a great way to find people to work as DSPs. And one of the things, we talked about it being really a collaborative effort, and we formed committees. And one of the things that was really a high priority was the vendor engagement committee. We had to get the other organizations on board with this, because if it was just a couple of us in the regional center, it wasn't going to work. Which really was, I think that was really important, because we were able to talk to the other vendors, the other organizations, get them on board to create their page on the website, but also attend those job fairs and attend the other events. So if there's anything else you want me to share, John, you let me know.
No, thank you very much. Eric?
Well, thank you guys. If you don't know me, my name is Eric, and I work with UCP up here in Sacramento, in the greater Sacramento area. I think you're hearing a lot of the same themes about creating a place to advertise for jobs. You're hearing about the need for a place to celebrate the work of DSPs. I guess I'll try to round out sort of the preamble of how we got here, and just a few things from my perspective that I'd like that drew me to the project that I hope you get excited about as well. So we've been a part of many of our provider meetings, and I'm sure this has been true for yours, that we just would talk about workforce crisis, workforce crisis, workforce crisis, workforce crisis. And at some point, it dominated our discussions. It felt a bit like Groundhog Day, but it never got better. We were always facing a greater crisis with workforce, but it seemed like an unsolvable problem. What could we do, our small agencies do, to change the economics around workforce and the need for workforce? So we started to really think about this. And so credit where credit's due, Tony and Lori and a lot of other folks got together and just started to think through these problems. I would say, just so you know, it's about 50-50, I'd say, regional center staff and providers for many months, just working on the problem and trying to understand what we want to do. So a few key things here. One thing that we came up with was DSPs were in desperate of a rebranding. We felt that the way that this work had been recognized and celebrated was not nearly enough to really elevate the kind of work that we do. So we knew that we didn't want to just to allow others to define the work that we do. Personal care and these types of other similar industries are not sought after and not celebrated nearly as much as they should. So we knew DSPs were in need of a rebrand. And so this project, you'll see attempts to tackle that directly. The other thing is we needed a promoter. There was no one promotion. You think of a big fight, a big activity, there's promotion, promoting, getting this out there. We needed a promoter. We needed to do both. We didn't want to just promote the old thinking around our work in our field. We wanted to rebrand, but we also needed this promoter. And then we were so concerned that if we did all of this work and they ended up at D, they just could go down a rabbit hole. They even if we got their attention, which is so difficult to do, we could easily lose them to the next, person who's paying to boost their ads. And then we talked about the value of the field. So we really did think that our field has a lot of benefits to it. The meaningfulness of the work, the kinds of all sorts of different varieties of the work, part-time, full-time. And we thought, we need to find a way to lean into that and create a place where we can celebrate the DSP, we can promote the DSP, promote the work, create a place where we hopefully can get more eyes for folks that are actually looking for these jobs. So we talked about how people fall into this work almost by accident or they go looking for it. So we want more people to even think about this work, but we also want to make it really easy for folks, if they did find out about us, to just fall into it. And we also realized that we're all in the same boat. I can't hire every person that's looking for a job. Not all of my jobs are going to match somebody else's qualifications, but some job in this system would fit everybody. Whether you're looking full-time, part-time, whether you have a degree or not, there's a job for anybody in this system. So we needed to find a way to, like a black hole, gravity well, just get them in the system and then find a way for them to find their career. So that's really what led us to the project. You're going to see some of those themes play out with some of the presentations and the websites. And the only thing I would say, if this hasn't been clear yet, let me just share. The DSP Collaborative, yes, we're hoping this is going to help you this next year find staff. Yes, that is part. We want this to be immediate benefit. But I think for me personally, I would just say my real hope is around the long-term play. Think about what a Got Milk commercial and campaign did for the dairy industry over many, 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 many years. And I think we're recognized we need to be a part of creating a similar promotion and branding and celebration and investment in this work. And that's what we're trying to do. So I'm going to kick it over to, I don't know who. So
thank you, Eric. I really appreciate it. And again, the next steps for the next step is this expansion to Los Angeles County, but the step after that is looking at a statewide expansion. When Bill gets an opportunity to share the website, we'll talk a little bit about some of the content under the R stories, where you can kind of see some of our DSP stories. But I want to honor East LA Regional Center, which was the first Los Angeles County Regional Center to reach out to us. Their vendor advisory committee reached out to us, like, what was it, almost a year and a half ago, maybe 2 years ago, Liz?
Over 2 years ago, yeah.
And has really led the charge here for this expansion to Los Angeles County. So I think I'm going to throw it over to you guys next.
All right, thanks so much. And I know Joel is here too. We want to talk about the expansion. And before I have Joel talk a little bit, I do just want to say what expansion means. What we have done is we were just so impressed with what Alta Regional Center and Valley Mountain Regional Center did. And again, you're going to see the website in a bit. We're building up momentum here for you to see this website, right? You can go in and you can find a job in any of the counties that those two regional centers serve. And it's awesome. So then when you think about LA, it's a different world, right? We're one huge county with 7 regional centers, right? And a whole bunch of cities. So it would be a different proposition. So the first thing was getting all 7 of us, which is like herding cats, to all agree we wanted to do this, right? And then how do we pay for it? And so that's something we did through a proposal to the Department of Developmental Services using the Home and Community-Based Services Final Rule Compliance dollars. And they thought it was a great idea, again, to help bolster our provider community in regards to really recruiting staff. So we're real excited to kick it off. And it is kind of a different thing. And I know Bill and somebody wrote about the site in Ohio. It was actually something modeled in another state and then brought here. And now it's like, okay, so LA, we can't just do it by county because it's one big county. We can't just do it by city or by regional center. We're going to do it probably by zip code. Because again, when folks in LA County, I mean, LA County is all the way from Palmdale to Long Beach, right? You can't, how do you find a job? So those little things we're working out. And we're going to talk more about that when you see the website. It'll make more sense. But we're real excited on this rollout. And this is the kickoff to what's going to be the building of the website and also the activities. And to that, Joel, I'm going to let you talk a little bit more. Joel is the chair of it's simple over here in LA, in East LA. We just say VAC, the Vendor Advisory Committee. Joel?
Yeah, so hello everybody. Nice to meet you all. Thanks for jumping on the meeting. So yeah, our vendor advisory committee, we reached out because we heard about the website and wanted to learn more about its functionality. So like Liz mentioned, we talked about possibly a zip code breakdown, or even like a regional center catchment breakdown, those various options. And then as someone asked in the chat, yeah, we're planning a job fair on March 5th. So location is to be determined, time and all that stuff. All details will be sorted out very soon. We're working as fast as we can to get that date saved. And I know we have had a job fair in the past. I think, was it maybe 2 years ago or a year ago?
Yeah, here at our regional center, about a
Yeah.
year and a half ago, we did.
Year and a
Yeah.
half. Yeah, we had a job fair, so I think the DSP Collaborative will help us expand the word, and especially we promote it like the previous speakers have mentioned. Promoting it will be a big theme, so that the job fairs are also well attended and everyone has opportunity to hire new staff. And yeah, but that's really in terms of our vendor advisory committee. Another idea I want to share is that it's not fully voted in yet, but we're planning to bring forth like a subcommittee with our vendor advisory committee for vendors that want to kind of head this up for our regional centers. So being kind of like point people, individuals kind of really heading up and doing the site planning. But yeah, so really excited about the expansion. Anything else you'd want me to touch on, Liz?
I think we got it. I think we're just
Yeah.
building up momentum here around that. We're excited to see it expand in LA County. I see folks putting things in the chat around, is Orange County included? At this point, we are talking about the 7 LA County regional centers. John did say the vision here is for statewide expansion. At this point, we are speaking specifically to LA, the 7 LA County regional centers. So with that, I think it's probably time for me to give it over to Bill, who's going to share the website. And Bill, do you need for me to pull up the website, or will you be doing that?
I will, Liz, thank you. I will
Right.
do my best to pull up the website,
Okay.
and just let me make sure that I have the ability to share my screen. Can you all see that?
Yes.
Okay, great. So, well, at first, I want to thank everybody from the DSP Collaborative. We've been truly blessed to work with the team. And I apologize if I look off at another screen, it's because I'm looking off at my second screen to look at the website. But we've really enjoyed the collaboration, and we're really looking forward to bringing on the LA counties. So I'm just going to give a quick tour. For any of you that want to go visit the site at any time, it is dspcollaborative.org. The core point of the website, and as John mentioned, is to make sure that we're providing a place for not only providers, not only for direct support professional, for those folks to share jobs and to share information about your organization, but also to really help job seekers. So you'll see right off the bat, yeah, there's for providers and for job seekers, key set of navigation. Immediately, we're trying to help people find jobs. So you'll see a lot of calls to action. John was going to play the introduction video. It's on the website. We certainly recommend that you go and view the site and spend some time on it when you get a chance. You can see, and this is where we'll be adding the LA counties, that we allow people to search by county. And I'll show you in a second, and it's on our development site, where we actually now allow people to search by zip code, city, and in fact, we'll be able to allow them to search ultimately by driving distance. So there's, I'll quickly go through the site. So for the providers, it just gives you a little bit of information about the DSP Collaborative, why you should be a part of it. And then ultimately, it gives you the ability to register. And registration is really, really simple. You will create, and we'll go through this, as we launch this late this year and early next year. But, you provide your email, your password, the name of the individual completing the form, and I'll just go down through, description of your organization, the opportunities that you have and links to those opportunities as they may exist, a wide description of why someone should work for you, And so you'll go down through, you'll put all of your information, and then there's just a number of other, things that talk about, what counties do you serve, the types of services, the types of employment, education level. So it then allows individuals to very quickly go through, and this is on our development site, but and so you can quickly go through, and that individual that's a job seeker can choose Sacramento as a possible area. But then we also have this location search where you have the ability to look at, a variety of, and here I just typed in Sacramento. So as I search for Sacramento, here's all of the DSPs that exist within, that city specifically. And then I can click on any of their provider listings and, and see more information about that provider, see more information about the opportunities that they have available, why you should work with them, how to find them online and directly apply. So we're trying to make it a one-stop, location where people can find the perfect job for them. The other thing, and was kind of going into a little bit, if you were to click on one of the zip codes, then you get brought up into and you'll will eventually be populating, but then you'll be brought up into, where do you live in relation to that zip code? And so, we'll be able to have all of the different data points about where the DSPs are located. Same thing, if you want to search by zip code through the system itself, and we're searching for 95825, it then shares, here's all of those DSPs within that area. So we're doing our absolute best to make it as simple as possible for everybody to find, the DSP providers that are best for them. And, for the job seekers too, what's really great is that, we give them the ability to directly go through. I mean, we talk about the DSPs, and I'm going to go through, John, some of the videos that you mentioned, and as we go through, that component. But as you look to find your career, you can again search by zip code or search by city. But if I'm searching for Sacramento, um, and apologize as it's loading, because there's a lot of providers in Sacramento. But as it's searching for Sacramento, then I have the ability, and I can actually probably even just go back here, but I have the ability to then, automatically start applying for jobs within Sacramento. So that's the other thing that just makes it so nice. As you are looking to to find jobs, and there'll be a map of the LA counties and the areas that the regional centers provide. You can quickly, locate where do you want to be, finding, specifically the jobs that are listed for you. Here you can see, it's how do I submit my information to this provider? And you can just quickly go down through and click that. Once you then, create a profile, all of that information that you submitted is sent out automatically to, all of the DSPs that individual may be interested in. And so we're going to continue to update the search functionality and those features to make it seamless so that everybody can understand. And we've also created, filtering that allows people to filter by different types of specialties. So, super excited about all of that. There's an area where it talks about for you that news and events going on, today's event, some of the career expos that went on. There's an about section that will be continuing to populate with more information. One of the things that we're working with John and his team and others on is just from a search engine optimization standpoint. How do we make sure we rank number one when it comes to DSP and direct support professional types of job openings? And then the last thing is, for those folks that may not understand what does a direct support professional do, there are just a number of videos. This is one on Bright Futures Residential. And if you watch these, they're really touching. They're very, very professionally done. And I won't, take you through each of these, but they're really well done to give individuals an overview of what it's like to work for a DSP. So, that's a
Hey,
quick overview of
Bill,
the,
I wanted to
yeah,
add there real
yes,
quickly,
please.
and the about this section too is that it's all different types of people that work for different types of developmental
Yes.
disability agencies. So you have a transportation provider that's got a story here on the video. Obviously, you have a residential care. You have a autism treatment program that does autism therapy that's on here as well. So I guess that's a big takeaway from this is we want to make sure that folks recognize that this is for all of the service providers of the regional center to help you with your hiring needs, which may be beyond what people may have typically think of what a direct support professional does as well.
Absolutely. Thank you, John. Yeah, and so and this will be a website. It's ever evolving. And the great thing is that once you are registered, then you have the ability to go in and update your profile at any time. If you are serving different communities and different zip codes going forward, you have the ability to add those in. So there's going to be, that constant ability for you to be able to update that profile, add to it, augment it in any way you need. But I am happy to answer any questions, happy to, to talk a little bit about some of the next steps as well.
So thanks so much, Bill. And I know things are coming in on the chat. I'm just going to go through the chat real quick because a couple of questions have come up. One is, what's the first step in posting your job? Are we creating videos? This is a kickoff. So we have not started that work yet, but that will be part of the work of the DSP Collaborative expansion in the coming year and moving forward. So we will keep our provider community up to speed on like when the website's ready for you to go in to register, where the first job fair is. We need someone to volunteer to be in a video. Will you let us shoot a video at your site? All that good stuff. This is just a kickoff. We just finally all got together and said, we're going to do this and let's tell everybody. But as far as a timeline in regards to that is what's in development. We were so proud that we set up the job fair and got that save the date, but we will definitely keep everybody posted. We being all 7 of the regional centers. There was a question here in regards to a database of DSPs that maybe were terminated or had to leave due to bad performance. That's not what the collaborative is about. That is, HR issues would be obviously confidential. That's not something that would be public information posted. That is always a challenge in our profession. It's really, again, does a background check really capture sometimes those issues? So the DSP Collaborative is not something that would be posting information like that. Trying to see what other questions we have up here.
Liz, there was something in there that Jack and Tony were kind of discussing about the competitors and things and how we market this. That is an important thing. You saw for the job fairs, at least, you saw we did job fairs at our local community colleges, for example, did job fairs at Employment One Stop, where the ROP adult education classes go, and individuals came right from there, right into the job fair. So these weren't necessarily already existing DSPs that we were trying to at least draw to the job fairs, but rather trying to get new people interested in entering into our field. But I think there is an opportunity if people are working for you and want to look at other jobs within the field that this is a one-stop shop for what's available possibly.
Thank you. And go ahead, Tony.
I want to add to that is that one of the things we want to talk about too is in promoting it is that there are all kinds of jobs. So in the daytime, in the nighttime, with children, with, transition age, with seniors, there are all kinds of different jobs and there are all kinds of different people who would be interested in them. And so if you're going to be a different type of provider, maybe you're SLS or you have a home, you have a difference and you want to highlight that with each other. So you're all doing the bigger thing together, but you're going to do it in your own special way and in a unique niche need of a person with a disability. So you lean into it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I see some questions. Will we have vendors train staff? That is, again, if you have a training program and that's a selling point, like Tony's saying, if you have a great training, that's something you would. The DSP Collaborative is really about making the information available for folks who might be interested in pursuing working with the folks we serve as a profession. Will job descriptions be posted on the job site? If you want to post the job description, if you want to post the pay scale, that is up to you. Okay, this is available for you for free to be able to put that kind of the information up.
Hey,
Okay.
Liz.
Yes.
Cedric Smoots has a question in there. Are you creating videos for the Los Angeles Collaborative and share stories that are culturally diverse? I did show the Facebook page where we do post a lot of the updated information. Right now, Carly Mormon, our Alta's employment specialist, is carrying a lot of the weight for the content. And we're really looking forward to this partnership with Los Angeles County, where many of you service providers, as part of the collaborative, can help us share stories specifically. So Cedric, you're one of the people that we're hoping that we can count on to share stories about the people that are working for you and with you.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's just a given. Of course, it's going to be diverse. Of course, it's going to capture the demographics of our county and the folks we serve and the folks we hire, right? So absolutely. And like I said, that's all going to be in the works. Absolutely. Yeah. And I see something popped up in the chat. Will you be collaborating with the DSP internship program? So we're not collaborating with the internship program, but certainly the internship program is there. And that is something that is a good, right? It dovetails real well with this work. So yes, we will have information about the internship program there. We will encourage DDS to promote it, maybe even come to job fairs. Absolutely, yes. In regards to that, I'm hesitant to say collaboration because that is a separate project, but definitely won't close the door to it. Definitely it complements all of this work, right? Can you offer DSP training in Spanish? So this is not about DSP training, and I don't do DSP training. That's a DDS requirement, and so I just want to say this is not about the training component of DSP. That's a different conversation. This is really about doing the recruitment and really working together to really identify those folks that can serve the folks that we all mutually serve. Any other questions? Got something else that looks like it popped up. I'm not ready to be a provider, but would like to work with a provider. Awesome. Well, terrific. So once we get you may want to kind of take down emails and things here and find out, because we don't have the collaborative up and running yet for LA County, but unless you're looking for work up north, that's already established, right? So welcome. Anything else?
I think there was a question just about the.
Is there a list or a calendar of job fairs that providers can participate in now until the website is ready?
So March 5th, save the date. We don't have a location yet. We've been working on scouting on a location. We plan on having 3 job fairs in 2026 in LA County. We're looking to be very north. We're looking to be east and more kind of central. So we'll keep you posted, but we do know that March 5th, we will be having a job fair. Details will come.
I think,
are we gathering a list of providers? That's what the DSP Collaborative is going to be. So once it's up and running, you'll put your name on that list. That's what it is. Yeah. All right, these are good questions. All right. When do you expect this fabulous site to be up and running in LA County?
I think that's kind of our next agenda item, right? Is Bill
Right?
talking about
It
the
is.
LA County rollout and you guys inviting him to your vendor advisory committees.
That's right.
So,
Absolutely.
Bill?
Yeah, so our goal, and we're currently in the process of working on it now, our goal is to have this executed and launched by the end of this calendar year. So in early 2026, we will be ready for, all of the LA County, DSPs to go in, register, input their information, and have that be active on the DSP Collaborative website. And then we'll be working, and I certainly will be available, and other, members of my team will be available to attend those advisory committees, and we'll be providing training on how to do that, training on how to update profiles. It's simple, but at the same time, making sure that you understand how to log in. And so we'll be going through all of those instructions, and we'll be sharing that with Liz and all of the regional centers within LA County.
Thanks, Bill. Yeah, we're excited to have Bill. He's going to come to our VAC and your whatever it's called, Service Provider Advisory Committee, all of visiting everybody and getting more details. I saw something pop up about if we thought about getting some high profile actors because we're LA. We have thought about that. We do have a public relations firm working with us. If you know somebody who knows somebody, send them our way. Absolutely, yes. We'd love to get some big names working with us. Absolutely. Okay, let me see. Will the website be translated into a different language? At this point, I believe it is English only, right, Bill?
It is in English. However, it is, it's absolutely, fully accessible by any of those with, whether it's hearing, whether it's those that are blind. So the site is fully accessible in that regard. And we certainly can have the site translated into different languages. That's something that we can certainly work on. It's not at this point in time, and I think that's a great point. We don't want to use Google Translate or something like that because I don't think that's going to be as accurate. So I think that will be something to certainly talk with Liz and John and Tony and the DSP Collaborative to think about how do we best translate that to make sure that everybody can be using it in the best way. And I know browsers are getting smarter and smarter, and AI is getting smarter and smarter as well with that type of translation. So I'm sure we'll be able to figure out something. Great question.
Bill. And I know a question has come up in regards to the availability for self-determination. I can say that right now this is just for traditional services, but we had a conversation last week, I know here at in our local volunteer advisory committee about, hey, could we put some of our funds towards this for self-determination? I don't think it's out of the question. I think we have to look at things in phases, right? So let's get it built for traditional services, and then let's look at, could there be a sort of branch that's for self-determination? It's a great possibility. Bill, are you scheduled to meet with North LA? Bill's going to be scheduling with every single one of the LA County regional centers. Within the website, will there be a chat portal so that folks can connect with the DSP? Bill?
Well, that is something that is really easy for us to implement, but it really comes down to, and that's a question I think for the regional centers themselves, is there's somebody from, well, let me ask this. So within the website, because I may be misunderstanding, can we easily connect with, are you looking to connect with the providers? And that type of chat portal would be, I think, difficult because, then but there certainly is the ability for people to fill out those contact forms and then create dialogue. At the same time, we could create a chat where you have access to different regional centers and a direct contact at those regional centers. And then it would just be, do the regional centers, have somebody that can support that, during business hours.
And I have to, and that is a huge issue for us to have to look at internally. And I think one of the things we want to do is make sure this really is, the regional center is sort of behind the scenes on this. This is for you. This is for service providers. When we first talked about building it, it was like, oh, should we make the map by regional center? It's like, if I'm looking for a job, I could care less what regional center. I know I live in Long Beach. Where's the jobs, right? So I'm hesitant for us to say that the regional centers would have a contact person beyond, who those of us that are working on it behind the scenes. So, but it's certainly something we can put on the agenda to explore as we're building and see if there's a way.
Thank you. Yeah, I think the point of contact at the regional centers are important as it relates to the DSP Collaborative, but the amount there's only really funding for us to do the website. There's not necessarily funding for us to staff the website. But again, we do have to have, some point of context. Again, this is really just to get folks excited though right now. Again, it took us a few months to get it off the ground in our 2 regional center catchment areas, and these kickoff activities hopefully get everyone excited, and then you'll get more information obviously when we actually have those vendor advisory committee meetings where folks can ask Bill all of the questions and he'll walk through how to register. It's about as easy to register as any other website that you can imagine as far as job boards and things like that, though.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, John. Just anyone going to see this, click something new. Will providers be able to upload a video on their page or just their logo?
Absolutely, the logo. What I would suggest is providing a video link in their description. So if any of the providers have, a YouTube channel or access to post video, absolutely providing that link is something we can absolutely, you can easily add into, into your description 100%.
Great. And can they add a link for people to apply directly for the job?
Yes.
Great. All right. All right. Well, we are just coming up on 3 o'clock. Any last minute questions or anything I missed in the chat? I think we got everything. All right. Okay. Well, appreciate everybody's patience as we ran into some technical things, and just keep posted. Our website, the East LA Regional Center website, is in the midst of being updated, but we will have this recording posted on that website, and I will certainly share that out with the other regional centers so they can share it out with the vendor community as soon as it's posted. Yes, Eric.
I just realized, as I was thinking through, I've been on the website so many times. I think when we did the demo, we maybe didn't click into a provider directory posting. So just for folks that haven't seen that, there was a search list when you looked at your area, and then there was a list of provider names, and looks like John's going to share that right now. Oh, well, thank you for choosing ours. I was not expecting that, but you are able to click on an individual provider and then learn more about that provider. And so you're able to share more information, and you have complete control of the information that you shared. So I was just going to, in closing, encourage folks, if you were, the last round of questions was about that, go ahead and click through, and you can see what some of us have done to kind of populate our actual posting. So yeah, I see John is gonna go to ResCare, and so you can see how ResCare, and you can see they've custom made, like that top banner was customized, as well as the information. We have a link to our where you can find more information about our jobs and apply directly. So I just wanted to point that out.
Awesome. Thank you, John and Eric. And I've dropped the link in the chat a couple times, so make sure you get that.
Find us on Facebook, please. Like our Facebook page. You'll see the updates there. As soon as it goes live, Facebook's going to be updated probably immediately. So follow us on Facebook, please.
All
DSP
right.
Collaborative.
Okay. Thank you, everybody, for your time and figuring out how to get to this webinar. And I'm sure we will have more of them in the future, so we'll keep you posted. Thank you. Thank you, panelists, as well. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you, everybody.